Real Talk with Mo. Glad you could join me. www.cblifestyleapparel is the wear. Also, CB Life Wellness coming soon. CB Life every day is up. Um, get with the program. So I just wanted to get it done. CB stands for Chasing Billions. Just to let you know, Chasing Billions, Count Blessings. So I just wanted to talk about something, man. I think we're getting divided by people who we think are on our side. And when I say that is we let in the extremes of we're talking about politics. The extremes of the left and right push us away from the other side. That's why we can't really have any conversation about anything. And the politicians are starting to do the same thing. Even the White House, Joe Biden, are starting to do the same thing. Not to say, I'm not gonna say like before, not Republicans, but I would say people, believe in Trump or conservatives start to do the same thing too. And I think it's not a good way to look for the country. I think because a lot of us are more in the middle than we know, right? There's a lot of things I talk to people all the time, and they'll vote, one way, but when you talk to them, you see that they kind of like it's not as easy for them just to go along with it. They actually got to think about it, and they actually got to, even they go back and look at it, they're like, you know what, I can see that, right? They have like a more of a just a mindset of like, that kind of makes sense, right? That's kind of logical, right? And then they'll go back and forth on the subject. They're not just like, this is what it is, everything that's on this side is go gun ho, I'm going for it. And I think a lot more people are in the middle. Not to say that they're in the middle like they don't know which side. They're on one side, but they're not as far as you would think, right? Like I would say, conservatives, you go pretty far right, and you get into some real like, maybe white nationalism or something like that. You could do that, but I don't even know if they would be considered conservative or right, because they kind of go off track. But you could go that right. Left, you could go all the way to progressive, Bernie Sanders, AOC, right? Those are pretty much far left, bringing you into socialism, communism, pretty much fascism. So you can go that route too. But I don't believe most people are in those routes. That's why Bernie Sanders never won an election. That's why, I think it was, I don't know who ran back in the 90s or whatever, David Duke or one of them people, that they never win elections, because people don't really believe that. That's so far right, so far left that people don't go, just like Bernie Sanders, right? It's like if he was to run, he's not gonna win. He's too far left. He believes in socialism and all that, which I disagree with totally on everything. So I say all that to say is like most of us in the middle, man. If we come to that conclusion, there's some things that we really can't break on. Like I would say, abortion, that's a tricky one, right? But I think even that conversation has been flipped on its head and fed to us in different ways that we can't even say that we agree on certain things, right? That's a tricky one, because people like to say, me personally, I'm like, I think you should get some time, and I don't want to kill. And I think you should just understand, first of all, that you're killing a baby. Right? That's the only thing that I want people to understand. You are killing another life. God. You guys can deal with that when you talk with Him, or when you talk with God, then you can figure that out. But you are taking a life, and I think that that's my only argument that it comes to, is like, as long as you are okay with that, then I'm fine. But if you say nah and you want to try to fix this and that, see, there's certain things that are like that I think are really far left that I think most people don't believe in. They just don't want to not be for it, because then they think that they turn you into a bad person, right? And that's kind of like how everything go. Like if you don't, some people like around the right, they're like, oh, he's a you don't believe in capitalism, right? So he thinks he's a socialist. Right, it could be somebody just has disagreement with capitalism, which I don't think is any system, period, that's gonna be perfect, right, for us or for any country, because no country has created it yet, but it hasn't been made yet, and we're talking about thousands of years of history. So those things right there are real. People divisive, and when they get into situations, people like to push you all the way to one side or the other, and I don't think that's right, man. I think we're more in the middle. More people I talk to, everyday people, not on Twitter, not on Facebook, right? Some people that have no profile picture, right? they're not even there, right? You don't even know who it is. They private, right? Those people, or the people who are really seen, they got an agenda to push. If you look at most people's bios, they're writing a book, they're doing a podcast, right? They're trying to get people to come to them, so they got to be extreme, right? They got to be crazy, right? Yeah, like, why you got it? Because they want you to go check them out. Like, oh, this guy's so crazy, man, I got to go check him out, type of shit. So you get into that too. So you don't want to get into that and get fooled, right? Get fooled and put into one of these boxes with these people because, you know, they want to put in. They got to keep pushing that agenda. If they don't keep pushing that agenda, you're not going to watch the show, right? You're not going to go and try to read that book. And it's a lot of, crazy thing is there's a lot of smart people, man. I see a lot of smart people that say a lot of ignorant shit, right? A lot of ignorant shit. And I can't believe that they would say it in good faith. They have to be saying it for a reason, like an agenda, right? Because it's a lot of stuff that I'm like, that don't even make sense, man. Like, it doesn't even go together. Like, I was a tweet I was reading with Robert Wright, and he was talking about I think he said something about black and browns going to prison, but they don't want to eliminate student debt or something. It was something crazy like that. And I'm like, what are we talking about? Like, that ain't even, those things don't even go together. But you got 14,000 people that like his post, which I don't even know if they are real people. And then you got, you know, thousands of comments and people arguing in the comments because somebody come on there and say that don't make sense, and then you get everybody want to defend him, and he's right because he's was Clinton under Clinton, I think, or something like that. Anyways, I'm just saying, man, I think we more in the middle. We need to meet there. We need to have the conversations to figure stuff out, man. You're not always right. Everybody's ignorant. There's no way you can know everything about everything, right? We're all ignorant, all 8 billion people in the world. So we got to come to what's working. That's the way I go off of it, but this is illogical, right? What's working, what has been working, right? If there's things that can be fixed, is that what you're talking about going to fix it, right? If that's going to fix the problem, then fine. If you're talking about bringing the problem down even smaller than it is, then obviously nothing you do is going to just fix a problem and not make other people, it's not going to fix for everybody and not hurt it. It's going to do both. There's always pros and cons to everything. And that's my point that I always try to make in any conversation I have. There's always pros and cons, right? There's always good and bad in everything you do, right? And everything that happens, there's good and bad. I know a lot of people on the extremes of these things don't want to believe that, but that's the truth, right? There's no way around that. That's the way the world works. That's the way life works. There's always good and bad. You can just look at nature. Nature itself is good and bad. It's good for some people, bad for other people. It is what it is. That's the way nature works, right? There's animals that are hunted. There's animals that, that forage and just eat grass, and there's animals that eat them, right? In nature, it rains. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes it rains. It gives everything life, and then sometimes rain could take life. It is what it is, and that's with everything. The people think that because they're humans that we're above that. We're not above that. We're part of nature. Even our thinking, anything we develop is always going to have good and bad in it, pros and cons. And that's the only thing I think people want people to see more of is, that's why when we having these conversations, we got to understand that. So I just wanted to say that, man. Real Talk with Mo, the only place you want to get the real talk from a real person. Holla at me.